Perfect.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. Well, why am I wearing an apron today? I'm not even cooking. I'll tell you why in 1 second after I introduce today's guest. It's the fourth Sunday of the month, which means it's time for the plant-based Kitchenista with Chef Kelley Williamson. She's going to be making BimBimBap bowls and spicy Sriracha green beans. And both of us just got back late last night from the 8 most glorious days at Rancho La Puerta in Mexico, where we did 4 cooking classes, 3 of them hands-on, 1 demonstration at the most beautiful cooking school in the world, La Cocina Quecanta. And whenever you take a class there, you get a free apron. And so if you take all 3 classes, you get all 3 different colors. And Kelley's wearing her apron too. And we'll tell you a little bit about Mexico. In case you'd like to join us next year in our group, please welcome Kelley. I can't believe you could do the show the day after getting back. I can barely keep my eyes open.
I'm ready. Like I said, I love to cook and stuff. So getting things ready for the week and making sure that you have all these healthy vegetables and a BimBimBap bowl and Sriracha green beans. What could be better? This is meal prep for the week.
So you're bringing up a good point here, because yes, you are a chef, but you got in late last night after 8 days away. So how are you able to pull together not only a meal, but a cooking demonstration so quickly?
It's all about just, like last night and stuff, I went and I chopped everything up. So I had, I had red peppers and, I always had these things in the refrigerator. You have mushrooms and cabbage and things that really hold in your refrigerator, corn on the cob, which is really good now here in the summers. So you can actually do this without doing all the chopping, because if you think about it, when you go to the grocery stores, like your Whole Foods or your, Sprouts, Kroger's, whatever you're going to, everything that you could get right here that I'm going to make could all be chopped up and ready to go. You could actually add jicama if you wanted to, because it's already chopped for you. So, just thinking about having things that are ready and, shredded cabbage in a bag, you could have all these things ready, put them on a grill really quick. You could saute them and with some rice, and you've got that in your pressure cooker. It takes just a couple minutes and you've got things ready for the week. Truly, it's all about the sauce. It's the sauce we're going to make that you can put on many different things, and you could mix this up in a salad. You can mix it up in a bowl, and then you've got the week that's ready. And it's all fresh and great for you.
That's amazing. I'm curious. When I got back, I noticed some things in my refrigerator, and I'm wondering, because people always say, how long do things last?
Yep.
And I had made wild rice before I left, and it's still in there, and it doesn't smell bad, but could it last that long in the fridge?
Yes.
9 days? Really?
Rice usually, it depends on what you put it in. Usually if I put it in glass dishes and stuff, sometimes it's like a week and a half. Sauces, I can get sometimes up to 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I make dressings and stuff that I've kept up to 2 weeks, and I'll put it into like glass jars and stuff. I don't, when you use the mason jars, don't use the metal lids unless you put plastic wrap on it first. Otherwise, use the plastic lids that you can get on Amazon, and it keeps it from oxidizing, and you can keep things in there. The only vegetables that, like your water vegetables, don't last as long. So like zucchini, yellow squash, those are usually about a little over a week. Only if you put them in like the green bags. If you put them in the regular plastic bags and you have moisture that gets into your refrigerator, they'll go bad within a week. Peppers, couple weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, just depends on your refrigerator.
I always wonder, because what does going bad mean? If something isn't visibly growing something, or if it smells bad, because I smelled the wild rice, it's cooked and it's
Yep.
at least 10 days old. Should I taste it? Are there any risks? Is it better to err on the side of caution or throw it out? How do you know when something goes bad?
So when you're if you've got rice, what you do is, especially if it's in a glass, like a glass dish, you actually take it and put it up above your eyes and stuff and look at the bottom. So if you see anything that looks a little milky on the bottom, because maybe the top looks fine, but the bottom tends to be, instead of like a white, clear, like water, it tends to be like a little bit of a milky color. That's when it's gone bad. So you want to make sure you throw it out then, because that's where it's starting to oxidize and the bad stuff's coming out, like all the mold, etc. Your vegetables, easy to tell. You'll start getting, like, even if you get, let's just say you get a bell pepper and you've got a little spot of mold that happens on it, you can cut that out and then throw the bell peppers in the oven and then roast them out. And then you've got bell peppers instead of throwing it away and, that food waste and things like that. That's what you could do with your vegetables. Just cut off the bad part and then use the rest that's all healthy. But definitely on your rice, just check the bottom of it. If it gets milky, that means it's gone bad for you.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So bibimbap, that's Korean, right? It's a Korean dish, isn't it?
Korean, Vietnamese.
Vietnamese. Okay. I love Vietnamese food. I never had it till I moved up here, and now it's become my favorite.
Yeah. I love it because it's fresh and it's just one of those things that you can get, it's very filling because you're going to have the rice, you've got the vegetables, so you got your fiber, you've got everything else. And then you kind of put that little bit of spicy type of a sauce on it. And that's, everybody was asking, well, what's the difference between a Buddha bowl and a BimBimBap bowl? And it really, truthfully, it's the sauce. It all comes down to the sauce because you could put the exact same vegetables on both, but your sauces in your Buddha bowls tend to be more like peanut or nut based. And so you'll have like a peanut sauce, an almond sauce, so kind of more heavy. And those are great in the winter and things. Your BimBimBap bowls are more spicy. So you have your gochujang, you have your sambal olik, which is your chili garlic sauce, your sweet chili sauces and all that. So you get that more of that zing, which is really good in the summertime. So both fun.
Great. Thank you. Let's get bim-bim-bopping, if that's a word.
Let's get bim-bim-bopping. All right. So first thing we're going to do is I've got all the vegetables that are all chopped up. So I've got yellow squash. I have zucchini, so yellow and greens. I have red bell pepper. You could use any color that you want. We talked about, like in the cooking school, that we weren't going to use the green because a lot of people get indigestion with green bell peppers. So I always use the red, yellow, oranges. If you don't have a red bell pepper, but you have those sweet mini bell peppers, you can use those too. Then I've got mushrooms. I've got cabbage, red cabbage that I put in there. Red cabbage is an extra, but I had it and wanted to use it. And then of course, radishes, red onion. I've got fresh. So I've got tomatoes, sliced tomatoes. We're going to add a little bit of kimchi and then corn on the cob. So I'm going to get my grill over. I've been preheating it. You could actually, I'll turn it this way. You can actually, if you didn't want to grill and you didn't have a little grill and you didn't want to dirty your oven, you could actually just saute it. So that's an easier way to do it. Or get there. Or if you didn't want to do that also, and you're like, I don't want to do any pans or anything like that, you could actually just eat it raw. And then you've got these great raw bowls and stuff that you have in front of you. All right. So then if I grab my bowl, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of vegetable broth. That. And then I'm going to add the vegetables. And I'm going to do them each one at a time really quick. And this is just giving it some moisture because the reason why is when I put them into the BimBimBap bowl, I kind of want to put them in different sections because then you get almost that rainbow of veggies. So I'm going to put them on a hot grill. This grill is by Oster, O-S-T-E-R. Some people call it Oyster, I think is what I've heard it called, but it is, you can get it on Amazon for probably under about $30.
Or
one side is the grill and one side is the pancakes.
I've heard it called Oster. You say
Oster. Yep.
You say oyster. Yep.
Oster. So all I'm doing is just giving it kind of a bath in some vegetable broth. And if you don't have vegetable broth, of course, water, that'll work. Said I'm just putting them in sections so it's easier to pull off when they're ready. And I'll keep my dishes off to the side. All right, I've got red bell pepper. So I'm putting the things on the grill first that are going to take a little bit longer. But remember, you don't want to grill them so much where they're like mushy. You want them where they're al dente. Getting a little bath there. So pretty quick. This is on about 350. Get my tongs. So it's not going to take very long for them to actually start grilling. So knock it all over. So already you can see the grill marks that are happening. I already have my rice cooked. So I did my rice this morning. I did it in the Instant Pot, so it's ready to go. So I don't have to worry about that. While that's going, we're going to make the sauce. So the kimchi, because I know everybody would ask questions about the kimchi. So this is Cinto Gourmet. So kimchi, this is just a spicy red Napa cabbage. So if you're not real keen on kimchi, there's another option you can do. So we actually have the wild brine. So this is dill and garlic organic kraut. So you could actually just get the plain one. You could add a little bit of like cayenne or different spices that you wanted to put into it. This one has the garlic and the dill, which is really good. So those are the two different ones that you can get. Plus there's like probably 20 other flavors. So we're going to just use a little bit of the kimchi because a little bit of kimchi does, unless you're a lover of it, can go a long ways. All right. So we've got the bowl. So the sauce, we've got gochujang. So it's just basically, it's like a red, so it's like a reduced red pepper. I use, this is like, they always say that if you watch any of the cooking shows, Bobby Flay's favorite spice, gochujang now, he uses it on everything. Little spicy. So if you don't like spicy, I would probably I would do like a little bit of like maybe 2 tablespoons of your gochujang instead of the 4, and then stir a little bit and then taste it. So it does have a little bit of spice. And then I'm going to use date paste. So a tablespoon of date paste. Date paste, of course, you know, you can get it through the Date Lady, which is really nice. So you could buy that, or you can actually just make your own, which is just dates and water that have been soaked. So that's the sweetener. Then I've got rice vinegar, so a tablespoon of rice vinegar. And then I'm going to add, and then a little bit of water. So 1 to 2 tablespoons of water. I'll just add 1 right now. Grilling up as I knock them all over the place.
You know what, Kelly? I've literally searched every email you've sent me in the last 3 months, and I don't see the recipes. So you'll get them to me, you know, maybe like a little bit later this afternoon.
Yes, I will do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm also going to add, since I'm doing the spicy sriracha green beans, and I've already blanched the green beans, the one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of sweet chili sauce and then the sambal olik, which I really love. If you love, like if you ever go to different restaurants and stuff and you like the kind of the spicy chili flakes in it, the sambal olik is the best. Love it. So I'm just going to add a little bit in there just to give it, like I said, it's all about that sauce. It's about that kick. So when you taste it, you're like, ooh, that's good. A little bit of spice. Think it needs any water, so I'll dump the water out. All right. All right, so vegetables are done. So I don't really grill them until they get a lot of the grill marks. I want them more where they're al dente, but they've got the really good flavorings on that. So let me get these off here. I want to get everything else out. I'm going to change the plug for a second. Doesn't seem to be getting as hot here. Vegetables. If they get mixed in, unmix them a little bit. And you could sit and do them one at a time if you wanted to, but since we're doing a cooking class, we're kind of putting them together. Some reason this plug doesn't seem to be making my grill as hot. So I'm going to switch it to the back where I had it while we grill some more here. I don't know what's going on with the plug. So I'll just grill these as we go. I can hear it's like this plug. You might see that in your house sometimes. Sometimes there's certain plugs that have, like if you have one plug that's by itself because it's on its own circuit, then everything heats up really fast. And if you got another plug that's connected to a couple circuits of something, you may have to move your grill to another side. Let's get these off here.
Hey, Kelly, tell people what you like the most about Rancho.
So there was a lot of things. I mean, there's so many things that's hard to pick from, but I'll tell you a couple. Let me just get these off here real quick. So one of the things that I really liked is I watched a lot of the videos, and one of the things that I saw was they did a thing called aquaboard. And so it's like a raft that's on a board that is on the water, and you do a lot of Pilates exercises on it. And when I watched it, I was like, not a chance in heck, but I didn't say it that way, but not a chance in heck would I do that. And so I went and watched it because I was like, okay, what's going on? Let me see what this looks like, all those kind of things. And I actually did it. I got to stand up on a raft on the board, on the water, and I was standing up and doing exercises and all kinds of fun things like that.
And
that
that's
was
no easy task.
fun.
That's no easy task because I've never taken the class, but I've watched people and it's like surfing and they're just flopping all over and falling off. So you have photographic proof.
I do. I actually had the instructor take my cell phone so I could show everybody that I actually did it. And that was a lot of fun. Okay, let me get the other things on there real quick. I'm going to put mushrooms. The other things I loved is the cooking school that's there. I mean, if you go, there's places you can go for cooking schools. This is like no other I've ever seen. I mean, when I walked in, Chef AJ can tell you, it was just like my mouth was open. It probably took a good 30 minutes to have my mouth go closed. And the reason why it's set up like a Mexican kitchen, and it's a commercial kitchen, but it's so beautiful and it's so homey, and the way that they do the ceilings there, all that is absolutely beautiful. And everybody that was helping there, Blanca and Angie and Marisol and Rain and everybody else, unbelievable. So sweet and so well run. Love that. Love the sound healing. And I was like, every day, every hour, you had, 15, not 15, but probably 10 things that you could choose from. So there was like so many things to choose from. So you could go learn how to pack. And I know Chef AJ, you're gonna have the lady on that packs, which was really cool because you learn things about packing that you've never known. And then you would go from packing to like yoga, to Pilates, to learning how to do burlesque dancing, to like eating all the time. I mean, it's just so much food of what you could eat there was just unbelievable.
And
I don't think I ever ate so much in my whole life.
Yeah, me too. And I ended up like a pound less when I came back. Are you wearing the jewelry you made?
I'm not. I forgot to pull that out. That was the fun thing. That was too. You could actually make jewelry there too. So we did that and we love Alejandro. So if he ever watches, we love him. He's the best. And so you could make like necklaces, you could make bracelets. And so, you'd go into this class and you would take, maybe 10, 15 minutes and go through all the beads. And then of course, what you would do then is start, putting it together like a bracelet or, earrings or whatever you wanted to do. It was so much fun. And like I said, it wasn't something, they're like, oh, I don't want to do Pilates. It's like, you could go to do TRX, you could do Bosu ball, you could just walk, you could go lay by the pool. I mean, there's just so much stuff that you could do that maybe things that you've thought about trying, but you're like, oh, I don't really want to sign up for a class. This was your chance to try it and say, oh, I really like TRX. I like Bosu ball, or I love the water, the aqua board. And then after you did that, then you could come back home and say, that's what I want to do. And that's how I want to exercise. So it's fun. Lots of fun.
Oh my.
So I would say there's not anything. I mean, just, even though that we were there and it rained, so it was kind of overcast the first day, because of the hurricane that came through and then the tropical storm. But even then with the rain, it's this beautiful place of trees and flowers and cactus and 3 kitties that hang there and just everything. It's just beautiful.
And it was opera week. So we got to go to the opera.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The opera. I forgot about that opera. And then they have the house band, and then they have all these, people come in that are musicians, and there was probably 120, I think, 140 people. The people that you meet, like I said, one of my, Chef AJ brought one of her best friends, Tim, there, and Tim and I got along, we're like best friends now. He's just the sweetest guy in the whole world. And you met, and there was like 14 people, I think, that were with you, Chef AJ. And like, we're all friends now. We're all like connecting up and talking and sharing and all those kind of things. So that's the best thing about that.
Yes.
You walk away with so many great memories and things.
People are asking where we went. So if you tuned in late, we went to La Cocina Cacanta, where Kelley and I taught cooking at Rancho La Puerta. If you're interested, email help@chefaj.com and get on the waiting list. You will be on the waiting list because you're going to wail, because it's pretty much already full for next year. So then you can be on the waiting list if you want to come with us. You can go to Rancho anytime, and I encourage you to do so. But if you come as part of my group, you'll get a steep discount, as well as many perks, as well as easier access to SOS free food, which they did a really great job. They used the July group as like the test subjects, and they really got it right last week, didn't they? The delicious food.
There was, yeah, like I said, there was so much food that, you know, you may think that you're overeating and stuff, but I actually, and you said you came back a pound lighter.
Couldn't believe it. And I ate a lot of fat last week. I was eating the guacamole. I ate the peanut butter noodles. I ate seeds and nuts and all.
Cheese sauce.
And it's like, I'm like, I mean, because I'm probably a couple of pounds, who cares? And then like I weighed myself today and I'm a pound lighter. I'm like, that's crazy to eat, because they feed you 6 times a day there. You know, they got the smoothies at 2:45 and the fruit at 10:45 and the crudité at 4:45 plus all 3 meals. So it's amazing.
It is.
Hey, Kelley, there's a question from Bit about like, how do you know when something's al dente? Because different chefs might give different answers. Is there a standardized definition of al dente? I just always think of it as toothsome.
It is very much so. So like, if you've got, al dente and stuff. So it's like this vegetable. So this is the red pepper, and it's a great example. So like if you chew it, you know, and it's like fresh and stuff, it's really crunchy. So it still has the crunch, but it's soft. So it's more like it's pliable, which makes it al dente, which is really nice. So like even this, like your zucchini, it still cracks and stuff, but it's got that nice, like a little bit of a cook to it, which is really good. But it's up to you. If you like really soft vegetables, make it really soft. If you don't, then just go ahead and saute them up. So here's the red cabbage. Still, you know, did it al dente and stuff. So I still have that red purple color, because you'll notice and stuff, if you put it in soups, a lot of times your red cabbage will almost lose its color. And then I have my mushrooms all ready to go. So here's a great example of a mushroom. And then I have the corn on, which is the last piece. So those are ready to go. So the sauce, a little bit of kind of roasted red pepper flavor, because that's your gochujang. And then I put a little bit of the sweet chili sauce and the date paste. So it has a little bit of sweet. And if you don't want any sweet at all, leave the date paste out, or just put maybe just a pinch of that in there. But because I put in that like sambal olik, which is the chili sauce, and a little bit of the sweet chili sauce and stuff in there, it has this nice, like vibrant kick. So it's got a little bit of like, when you put it on this stuff, it's going to be like zing, which is what I love. So there's all my vegetables ready to go. I'm just leaving the corn on for a minute. I'm going to bring over, because we're going to get our green beans going. So I already blanched the green beans. So blanching, what that means is one thing. So you're just putting in the water. So you've got your green beans and you've got, you know, the ends all chopped off, but you've just put them in the water, and then you let them go for about 3 to 4 minutes. You kind of watch it depending on how fast your pot is boiling, the water is. And then once they get like a really vibrant green, you pull them out, and then you put them into a bowl. Put it over here. You put them into a bowl and you put it in this, it's in an ice bath. So you just have, like, if you don't have enough ice and stuff, just really, really cold water, or you put it with ice and cold water. So you let them cool down. And the reason why you do that is you want them to have that nice, you know, the nice crispness that's of a green bean, like that. And it has it has a little bit of chew, but not much chew, but it stops the cooking process. So that's what you do with blanching, is like when you want your asparagus or broccoli or green beans and stuff to have that really vibrant color, a little bit of cook, and then you want to stop the process, you put it into a cold bath. So these are all ready to go. So blanch, you didn't have to watch that process. Stirring the corn a little bit. So the sauce. So we're going to start it with a little bit of garlic. So I have roasted garlic. So roasted garlic, all I did, I was talking about this at Rancho, that the roasted garlic is always one of the great tips. So let me show you the roasted garlic, what I do.
We had roasted garlic there, remember, in the artichoke dip, the artichoke faux cheese dip, the one with spinach? We
sure did. We had really good things, like the fifth or the fourth class and stuff where you did the desserts. Oh my goodness. So you had, what did you have? You have chocolate cheesecake with blueberries on top, which was unbelievable. And then we had my favorite was your peanut butter mousse, chocolate mousse, kind of like a, what did you say, parfait?
Peanut butter paradise parfait. Yeah, people like that.
That was wonderful. And then we had the strawberry tart, and we drizzled it with a little bit of chocolate for everybody. And then we did your, what was your Goodman's?
Goodman's peanut chews. And Kelley tipped the people there with dessert. Kelley hardly ate any of her dessert. She used it as tips. for the
It
staff.
was fun. We
Yeah.
walked around, I walked around, helped everybody, anybody that, didn't know that wasn't sure about cooking, all those kind of things like that, walked around, showed them how to cut everything. But then at the same time, is because I couldn't eat everything, because we had Chef AJ's lasagna that they made and all that. And it was just like so much food. I end up putting in boxes and took it back to the guys at the front desk, the reception area. So Ruben and Alejandro and Oscar and everybody else that were there would get the desserts, and and it was funny, but the minute we walk back from our classes, they're like, "What'd you bring us?" And then they'd all fight over who got to eat the desserts.
That's funny.
That's how much Chef AJ's love there. They're always like, "What did Chef AJ fix?" But if you want to see a cooking school that is one of the most beautiful cooking schools I've ever seen, that's where you need to go. But just the relaxation of let's put it this way, you have no choice. And I work a lot and crazy hours and crazy things. You have no choice other than just to take it easy and just sit back and enjoy the moment. Because there's nothing you could be stressed about other than, because every time you get it done with a class, you have 15 minutes to get to the next class. But when you're walking, you see the most beautiful things. There's raccoons, there's, all kinds of animals all over the place. It's wonderful. Okay, so in here, so let me turn this off. Pull the corn off. It's nice and roasted. I'll chop that down here in a second. So if you're following along the recipe, so we've got the vegetable broth in here, and then we've got a little bit of the roasted, so the roasted garlic. So all I do is I just take the bulbs, I put it in a 350-degree oven, and then I just let them roast. So they're probably about an hour and 15 minutes, depending on your oven. And then usually what I'll do is I'll put them in like 5 little bunches. I'll put parchment paper on a baking sheet, and then I'll do is like put 5 of them together, and then I'll put them in the freezer and freeze them. Here I've just kind of been breaking these up, and then I just keep them in the freezer. So when I'm doing something like this, or I'm doing a tomato sauce or something, I have the roasted, if I want a different flavor profile, I have the roasted garlic to use. So I always have my basil frozen and my roasted garlic always frozen, ready to go. We like our tomato sauces here in this house. All right, so we got that going. So I'm going to have the green beans. I'm going to add those, but I'm going to let me do the sauce really quick first. So the sauce, forgot my bowl.
Yeah, because people think you have to roast garlic in oil, and it's just not true.
Garlic's easy to roast, and you don't have to. You can use it, raw garlic, roasted garlic, whatever flavor profile you're looking for. You'll notice that if you ever do a tomato sauce and you like half it into 2 different pans, and you put your roasted garlic in one and your raw garlic in another, you'll notice the different flavors, which is really good.
I think roasted garlic, for people that are sensitive to garlic or think they don't like garlic, I think roasted garlic is the way to go, because I think you can eat more of it without having that pungency. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And that's why that the hot artichoke spinach dip that we had there, the faux, like that's the faux cheese dip, people were eating a lot of it, and because it had just the roasted garlic mellowed it. The way they roast the garlic at the ranch is they take the whole bulb and they wrapped it in foil. They didn't even need any oil. I know the recipes always say cut the top and put on, but you really don't. And I actually have this little tool that I won at one of those Secret Santa giveaways. That's like you literally just put it in and it roasts it. But Kelley, have you ever tried the air fryer? Because when I'm in a hurry, I just take the cloves. I buy the cloves already peeled, and I throw them in the air fryer, not the Breville, but the one that's more like a hair dryer, for like 10 minutes at 370, and it's great.
That's actually faster, because when you're doing like the ones where I just throw the whole bulbs and stuff in the oven, then I have to come back and I sit down, so like in front of the TV or something like that, or whatever, I'm reading a book, I sit there and I peel them all down. Of course, your fingers get sticky. So if you already buy the ones that are peeled and then throw them in the air fryer, even faster. So I like that idea.
And speaking of TV, another great thing about Rancho La Puerta, there's no TV. I think there's in the men's lounge, because how many they won't go without their sports, and basically no phone. Basically no cell phone usage. And I actually, it's the first time ever for 8 days. This is my first day online. I did not check any social media or email. So I'm pretty slammed.
Exactly true.
That's the best. I think that's the best part. They actually have these bags they give you for your cell phone to take a nap while you're there, because you're really not allowed to use it anyway.
And you can see there was like the first couple of days, people were trying to find spots to call or check in and those kind of things. And then after that, everybody started like, okay, just leave it in the room or take it with me in case there's an emergency or something. So All right, so for the spicy sriracha, you've got 2 tablespoons of low sodium soy sauce. You could do Bragg's, you could do coconut aminos, whatever your flavor profile you would like. Then I have 2 tablespoons of the sweet chili sauce. So it's just like the sambal leek, but it has a little bit of sweetener in it to do. That one I just added some date paste into it to make it a little bit sweet. And then you've got minced, so the minced garlic is already, so I've already got it in here, so I'm not going to add any more because I don't need enough. And then I've got sesame seeds, so toasted sesame seeds. Sesame seeds, when you toast them, so a lot of times, you know, when you have the recipes that say, add 4 tablespoons of sesame oil or something like that, just toast your sesame seeds and add it to the same thing. And then you're going to end up having the same flavors and stuff without using the sesame oils. Because you know, we're not doing any oils. So, and you'll see that I'm not putting any salt or anything like that in it too. So I always put the salt on the table because Jerry doesn't like salt. And then the last, depending on how hot or how spicy, sriracha. So this was because I said it's spicy sriracha. So these green beans will be spicy. If you don't want spicy, leave out your sriracha.
Yeah, and Rancho, even if you didn't get the SOS free, they use very, very little oil and no salt and no sugar anyway. So the food is pretty healthy.
They had the most delicious juices there too. They always, every morning and stuff, you would have a green juice that you could try, and then they'd have orange juice, and they would have guava, strawberry.
And the turmeric shots. Remember the turmeric shots? The
immunity shots, those were really good too. There was like anything and everything. And then if, you know, let's just say that you know, if you want a little bit of caffeine, they have, you know, they have a little bit of the iced tea. I mean, just things like that. So it's like you can get anything and everything, coffee, whatever you need. So it's not like they keep you away from all that.
They didn't. I don't think they used to have coffee back in the day when they first opened.
It's like they have a lot of coffee now, and hot chocolate, a couple other things that I saw.
Yeah,
all right, so that's the sauce. You just mix it up, and it's another one. It's got that, you know, you got a little bit of that low sodium soy sauce. You've got a little bit of that sweet chili sauce, a little bit of sriracha and stuff. So it's got a little kick to it, but it's really nice. All right, so now we're going to add the green beans. So they've been blanched, ready to go. I'm going to get these set up a little bit. I'm going to add the sauce. And then we're going to get everything made.
How did Jerry survive with you being away?
I think he did fine. He did.
How was he able to feed himself?
He did like, let's see, one time and stuff, he did pinto beans in the Instant Pot, which is the best pinto beans ever. Green chili. He had tortillas. So I think he did that for a couple of days. I made a lasagna before I left. And so he had a spinach lasagna before I left. So he had more than enough of that, salads, tostados. He does tostados and enchiladas. So he does like he loves to do the Mexican food. That's his favorite. Get that going. So I'm gonna let those cook just a little bit. So as you can see, nice spicy sriracha green beans starting up. All right, so corn. Once you get the corn on the cob and it's roasted, you're just gonna cut off the pieces like that. Keep them whole. Flip them over like that. So then, because you're going to put the whole pieces on there, which just make it really pretty. The other thing that you could do if you're going to do this for a party or you're doing it for your friends and family, you could actually just do the corn and the cobs like maybe quarter sections, so little pieces of them. So after you grill them, just do little pieces like that, and you could get 3 out of one of the large ones, and then put that on your BimBimBap bowl too. So it gives people something a little bit to eat, which is kind of fun. So you don't need much time on this. You just need enough to where your green beans get warmed back up and your sauce thickens just a little bit. So let's taste a little one here. I like spicy. I'm gonna give that about another minute. All right, so let's get rice. So there's my brown rice that's already been cooked in my Instant Pot, ready to go. Grab my bowl. This is Jerry's size bowl. I have smaller ones, but that's a Jerry size bowl. He's excited because he's like, Kelly's back and I have food for the week. Oh, there. All right, so we're gonna grab rice. You could do something fun with this. You could get a little, like one of these little, kind of these little dishes like this, and you could, put the rice in it and make like a little mound here in the middle if you wanted to. I'm just actually gonna put the rice in. The rice is just a nice base. So probably about, if you're gonna make 4 bowls, probably about a cup per bowl is good. So it just has it like that. Put it back, keep it warm. All right, so then this is where you make it. Nice, as it says on the recipe, make it pretty. So this is where you're going to start bringing all your ingredients together. So kind of look at what you've got here. So you've got, you've got the green zucchini, you've got the yellow, some of it's mixed up a little bit, but like I said, you just separate it. You've got all these different purple colors. So think about like creating a rainbow here. The kimchi, we'll actually put it here in the middle. So we'll just add a little bit of the kimchi. Start that out. Then you have the tomatoes, the red onions, radishes, extra corn if needed. We have the sauce. So I'm just going to start with the yellow. So I have the corn. That. Then we'll do some mushrooms. Jerry's favorite. He gets them all. I'm not a mushroom fan.
Me neither. Good for you. We have a lot in common. I don't know why people love them so much. Oh, wasn't that mind-blowing the day they were out of mushrooms? Because one of the recipes we make from my book, the 10th anniversary edition of Unprocessed, is the most popular, the stuffed mushrooms, where the filling is just unbelievable. And the third day they ran out of mushrooms and they weren't going to make the recipes. And I said, do you have zucchini? And what they did is, instead of making boats, they made like little circles and then took a little melon baller. And weren't those delicious?
Oh my gosh, they were. Once they came out of the oven and you had the filling in them and stuff, and they had a little bit of crusty kind of on the top, everybody like took one, and then I swear that whole pan, which was probably what, 30 or 40 of them, and we had like 12 people in the class or something, gone in like 2 seconds. It was crazy. All right, so I'm just doing colors. So now I have that. So let's add some red. Then I've got the yellow. So that's your yellow squash. That. Got radishes. Those are going to go more around the top. And if you got, really, really good knife skills, you could do those fun little radishes, make it like, you have where it's a rose. So you could actually add that to the middle if you wanted to. That. Got a little bit of red onion, so it's raw, but you could actually grill it if you wanted to. Set that down. So you can leave it as a whole tomato on there if you wanted to, but I'm gonna chop it up a little bit. Just gonna do it in quarters.
You know what would be pretty, Kelly? The watermelon radish.
Oh my gosh, those I could never find in Denver, ever. Never been able to find them, but they were beautiful.
The beets that they use at Rancho, they look a lot like watermelon radishes, but they're beets.
Yeah. Those watermelon radishes were probably the most pretty thing I'd ever seen. They were just everything. And we did the roasted vegetables. Oh my gosh. There was, like I said, so much food and so much to choose from that you could put, let's put it this way, you could put everything on your plate, and pretty much everybody did. And then it was just like, okay, I can't finish this anymore. I can't do this anymore. There was so much food. All right, just adding some more just to add some. Then we got a little bit of scallions. Greenery always adds pretty for photos, and people love to see fresh greenery. That's why they always, when you go to restaurants and stuff, they always add the parsley and everything else on the top. And then you get these crazy boxes. There we go. Microgreens. Too many microgreens. There we go.
So pretty. Wouldn't it be nice if like we had the mise en place done like all the time for us, like magic?
Yes. And you know, truthfully, you can, like I was talking a little bit about, go to the stores now, you can get everything. You could get sliced radishes, you can get your sliced, red onion, your mushrooms, everything pretty much now comes in slices. So even if you didn't want to do this and you're like, oh my gosh, Kelley, it's a Sunday and please don't make me have to chop all of this, even like just, you could reuse regular kernel corn that's frozen, you don't have to do all this work. You could buy all this, you could saute it, you could air fry it. That's another way to do it. You could leave it raw, all those, and you have it ready and just this quick. And you could not even say, I don't even want to cook on Sunday. So maybe make your sauce and then have your rice ready to go. And then you can just put this like every day. You're like, you know what? I feel like just having, zucchini and yellow squash and cabbage. And then you just make this rainbow every single day. That's the fun about this. There we go. So I'm going to drizzle the sauce. Because like I said, BimBimBap bowls and everything else are all about the sauces. You will make these sauces. I guarantee you will make these sauces if you like things that are a little spicy or even unspice it, and you will use it on everything. I usually, when I make these, I will make almost like a quart jar of them for Jerry and I put it in the refrigerator, and then we keep it sometimes up to 2 months, as long as you keep it in a mason jar with the plastic lids. All right. BimBimBap bowl. That looked good. Jerry's already drooling.
Oh my God, Kelley, your food is so beautiful.
Thank you. I like making, that's the fun part of cooking. I think out of doing everything, the fun part is when you make it like where it's eye candy. That's my favorite part of anything, is doing that. Okay, green beans. And the thing about this too, you made these side of green beans. Where do you think you could put these in your BimBimBap bowl?
On top, like a little decoration.
Yep, you would have them ready, and then you've got, so even if you put the green beans and you added a couple other vegetables or something like that in here, just add them to your BimBimBap bowls. And then you could also add, like maybe the next day you're like, oh, geez, I have a bunch of spinach, or I have a bunch of green cabbage, that type of thing. Just add it into your BimBimBap bowls. And this is a great way to clean out your refrigerator. So you were talking about, you come back from 8 days and you've got some cabbage still sitting there and that kind of thing. This is the best way to clean out your refrigerator.
Kelley, Mona says, has Jerry ate some before you got a picture?
Not yet.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I got to read this comment from Dr. Daryl Woodruff, who's watching live. He said, I look especially young today. It's because 8 days at Rancho, it is the most just not using a phone for 8 days will make you look younger, guys. I swear. It's the most rejuvenating experience. So if you're interested, email help@chefaj.com and get on the waiting list for next year when we're going again. And I hope you'll get to go too, Kelley. It was so fun having you. Maybe this time you can bring Jerry.
Okay, maybe.
But then who's going to watch the little one?
I know. Can't watch Georgie. Got a Havanese too. And if you ever know Havanese, they're Velcro kids.
Velcro dogs. Yeah, it has to be somebody that's willing, like retired, that will just stay all day with the pup.
Yeah, she's a mama's girl. She loves her daddy, but she's a mama's girl. So she's kind of glued herself to my hip. So spicy Sriracha green beans, like I said, these can go in the BimBimBap bowls. You could put them on a baked potato. You could put them in salads. You could do, just eat them with some rice. You could just add rice to this. I mean, there's so many different things that you could do with these, and they're so yummy. They just got those great flavors. And then, of course, you've got your BimBimBap bowl. So I just added some black sesame seeds because they're pretty. And that's, when you've got anything that's Vietnamese or that type of thing, it's always nice to have the black sesame seeds and then the white sesame seeds. And then I've got a little bit of the greens. I put some scallions on the green beans, but what do they always say? Eat the colors of the rainbow. Here you go. Yeah, these are all good. And then you got your kimchi too, which, everybody talks about fermented foods, good for your gut. So a little bit of kimchi.
Jerry is the luckiest man in the world.
Yes.
No, you cannot take your dogs to Rancho La Puerta. I would imagine if they're a legitimate service dog, you could, but I really don't know if a dog would really have that much fun there, to be honest. So it's not really, it's not, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. I've always suggested to them to do a pet week because they do a kids week and a husband's week, but they haven't liked my idea for that,
I would love that, but yeah, but they do have like the 3 kitties. So like that there's 4 kitties there. So 4 kind of, not really feral, but they've gotten used to people, but then they have like raccoons. There's all kinds of critters that are on the land. So I'm not sure about the dogs.
It's so funny how the kitties at the cooking school are really lean because they're not fed any human food. And the kitties at the ranch, because the guests are always feeding them, are bigger. It just shows that, when you eat the natural diet of whatever your species is, Yeah.
But very nice. I mean, it's like I said, it's one of the most beautiful places, just the way they grow the trees. And it's unbelievable. You think you've seen a resort. Let's put it this way. You think you've gone to a fitness resort, and usually a lot of times and stuff there, they may put you in bungalows, but a lot of times it's hotels and they put things together. This is a completely different experience. It's just, it's mind blowing. I'm so forever grateful to you.
Oh, I'm so glad you could come. I've never seen a more beautiful place on earth.
I agree.
I've seen beautiful places like Maui and, Alaska, but there's nothing like Rancho La Puerta. Lori's saying, do you have to toast the sesame seeds?
No, you can actually eat them you can eat them just right out of, like if you get them in a container or a jar or something like that, you don't. So like I was just putting some sesame seeds on that are not toasted at all. So they're just organic sesame seeds, and the black ones aren't toasted at all. I get these from Savory Spice here in Colorado that they grind their own spices, and they're not toasted. So you don't have to, but if you're looking for something like you're sauteing up like a stir fry and you want that sesame oil, that's when you want to toast your sesame seeds, because a little bit of that oil comes out of the sesame seeds and will give you that sesame oil flavor without using any oil.
Nice. Well, Kelley, you've done it again. And after being away for 8 days, you're a miracle worker.
This is, like you said, this is Jerry's bowl. He will tell me, he will sit down at the table for lunch and he'll say, I can't eat all of that. And there may be 1 spoonful that's left, and he will eat the whole thing. And then he'll put lots more sauce on it. But yeah, that looks wonderful. That's beautiful.
That's hilarious. I'm just looking, when I know you're the 4th Saturday of the month, and I'm curious what the 4th Sunday of October is, because I'm wondering if you're going to be on before Halloween. Okay, the 4th Sunday of October. Yes, you're going to be on way before the 22nd, because do you do anything special for Halloween?
I don't usually make anything, but I could definitely come up with some recipes that more Halloween-y type of Halloween-y like that. That's a new name.
How about making Halloweenies? Get
Halloween.
Taking some kind of carrot dog and calling it Halloweenies. I don't know.
I'll look at something, but I'll come up with something for that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know you're not. I know you're more of a savory girl than a dessert girl, but but it could be anything fall. Everything you do is beautiful in the presentation. Do you think you'd ever want to own a restaurant?
We were talking about that when we were there. So I think, I looked at that cooking school and I took, I don't know, probably 100 pictures there. Because every time that you go to a cooking school here in the United States, it's very industrial, and they're magnificent type of kitchens, but there's nothing that makes you feel like you're at home, like having a place to have parties and all that. So if I could figure out a way to build what they have in Mexico, that would be a dream, because it's just so beautiful. It's not large, but it makes you feel like you're with family. And I think that's the big part of it. I think that's the difference. So.
Yeah. Well, there's a few people watching live like Colleen that have been there, so they know we speak the truth. I mean, we don't get, if you go, we don't get anything. They don't pay anybody. I mean, well, obviously they pay their staff at Rancho, but they don't pay any of the guest chefs or presenters, because, we get to go for free, which is payment enough. We have to find our way there on our own. But we're just so excited about this place that we would love everyone to experience.
Beautiful.
Is all. So that's why we are telling you guys about it. So, and it was so fun. And, you know, like I've been there probably 25 times before I knew that you could bring groups, and I had a wonderful time. But the last 2 times being with like-minded people that actually ate like us, so that we could eat these huge servings of vegetables and have baked potatoes every night for dinner and didn't feel like we were, you know, oddballs.
Oddball. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you didn't miss the recipe, Kathy. It's just that we've been away for 8 days at Rancho La Puerta. So Kelly's going to get them to me. Kelly, if you get them to me in the next hour, possibly. She's already written them up, but I'll just put them in the show notes. And if you're watching on Facebook, unfortunately, Facebook viewers, you know, we're not going to be on Facebook anymore. It's just a fluke that it worked today. You're going to have to watch on YouTube. But even if it worked on Facebook, the show notes are only on YouTube. So please.
Gotcha.
Lori says, did the resort get the rain? No, people, you know, it's so funny how many people canceled because of the hurricane. It was 1 day of rain. It was like no
Monday.
Monday. It was like light rain, but it didn't stop anything. So yeah, it was great. And the rest of the time it was San Diego weather, like in the 80s. It wasn't, people think it's going to be so hot. It's an hour away from San Diego, guys. It's not that hot.
No.
You know, I mean, especially because I live in Sacramento now, which is much hotter. And of course, the desert was much hotter, but it's so beautiful. My wish is that everyone could experience it. Mona says that if you did a retreat, she would move back to Colorado.
Cool. I love Mona.
And you live near closer to Denver or Boulder now?
Denver.
Denver.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, even the simplest things, like Kelly has hosted me several times when she did the plant-based summit, and she made food the way I like it, you know, and I don't even really like orange sweet potatoes, to be honest. I'll eat them, but I don't know what she did to them, but they were like, she's amazing. And like, I really do think Jerry is, let's do a husband swap one time. And
okay.
and no, I'm serious. And because we both have Havanese, they won't know. And we'll bring, Charles will go live with you for a week and Jerry here for a week, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, but Jerry, you're gonna come back a changed man.
Well, we could do a little documentary about it. I don't know if Charles would leave. Charles, would you be willing to live with Kelly for a week just for an experiment? Okay, he said okay. So Jerry, I think that'd be amazing.
Because there is an old show, you like wife swap, so we just do husband swap. Yeah,
well,
that'd be good.
We'll call this vegan husband swap,
yeah.
And we'll film it. What do you guys think of that idea? I think
I like it.
Fun. Yeah. If anything, Jerry's gonna be the more disappointed of the two. I can tell you that right now. So, however, Jerry, I know. Can Jerry hear me?
Yes.
Jerry, I know that Kelly in general is a savory girl and prefers savory over sweet. Does Jerry like sweets? Because if he's here, he's going to get a ton of desserts. Like you wouldn't believe how many desserts we have all the time, because I'm writing a dessert cookbook. I mean, there's pecan pie in the refrigerator and all kinds of mousses. So does Jerry like desserts?
He does. He doesn't, I would say he eats like, so if I make something like brownies or something, he will do like one or two, like maybe one night and one the next night, and then maybe a third night. But other than that, it's a little bit. He likes a little bit at a time and stuff, but he would not do it every night.
Okay. All right. So Jean, who's watching live. Hi, Jean. It's great to see you here. She loved the ranch experience in July and says everyone should go. It really is a place of healing, especially if you get one of the healing treatments. I mean, the massages there. I mean, that, you know, I've never had massages, even the best physical therapists like the ones at Rancho. And the Watsu treatments are worth everything just to go for that experience. So anyway, what can I tell you? I shouldn't be telling people, because when I tell people about stuff, then it gets so crowded, then I don't get to go. Like I couldn't even get my regular masseuse Juan Carlos because I made the mistake of telling him everybody. And then he was booked pretty much the whole time. So I'm not going to say things anymore. Okay. So you need a third husband to swap sideways. Okay. All right. Kelly, you're amazing to be able to pull this together after, you know, working full time and being away for 8 days. And how are you managing? Like, would you came home, like, was it like 2,000 emails?
I have not checked yet. I didn't check it all yesterday. So that's a first for me. So I'll probably check it a little bit later today.
Yeah, tomorrow will be my first day checking because I'm continuing the ranch experience. So thanks. And we look forward to seeing you very soon.
Sounds great. Thank you. Love you, Chef AJ.
And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Please come back tomorrow for 2 great shows. At 11 a.m., Dr. Brooke Goldner is interviewing her husband, Thomas Tadlock, on metabolism. And at 1 p.m., we have the oldest guest that's ever been on the show. We've had, who we had? Dr. John Scharfenberg, who's almost 100, Deborah Seke, who is the owner and founder of Rancho La Puerta, who is 101. But tomorrow we have another physician, Dr. Gladys McCreary, who just wrote a book. She is 102 years old. She founded the Holistic Medical Association. And if you come back at 1 p.m. tomorrow, she is going to tell you the secrets to living to past 100 and secrets to living healthfully. Take care, everyone. Great to see you.